Hello and welcome to all the Hillians out there. I'm Joe. Let me just move myself down a little. Aonuma AG comments on the return of classic Zelda gameplay. Now, I saw this article, thought it was interesting, and as we need a bit of time to edit the Hyrule in Focus video, I figured this would be a good video in the meantime to bridge the gap, and I thought this was also interesting. May 12, 2023 was a big day for Zelda fans as the much anticipated The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was released. On the same day, Dutch news outlet RTL News released an interview with the game's producer Aonuma Eiji and director Hidemaru Fujibayashi, with topics including puzzle building, creating surprises, and how having children has influenced the team's work. But the topic from this interview that seems to be the primary focus of previous reports is the feel of classic Zelda gameplay and design, and whether we will ever see a return to this older style in future games. The answer is no. I'm just guessing. Thanks to our friend Wes64, we now have a full translation of the interview. The snippet other outlets have focused on is Aonuma's response to the question asked by interviewer Bastien. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his surname. The last two Zeldas are completely different from earlier Zeldas. Old fans sometimes say they would prefer a classic old school Zelda. Would you guys be up to making that once more? Here's our translation of Aonuma's response. It's hard to say anything regarding the future. Having said that, thanks to earlier Zeldas, a game like Tears of the Kingdom now exists. This game has arisen out of ideas that we had in the past. We always try to make something that delivers more than previous products. In terms of that, we don't concern ourselves with our older games. We would rather focus on the future, aka big fat no. I'm going to dodge the answer and just tell you no. Which is quite disappointing. But on the other hand, there are possibilities to the new style of gameplay. That is, if they go back to fantasy and they avoid the sci-fi nonsense. But the trouble is, I don't see them going back to medieval fantasy. Zelda's now a sci-fi story. Sci-fi is cool and hip with the kids, so stick with sci-fi, he's probably thinking. As for not focusing on older games, the problem with that is you're in danger of repeating earlier mistakes. So that concerns me. But hey, I don't think he much cares what I think. Not that he even probably knows I exist, so it's fine. Other comments made during the interview help shed light on what Aonuma means when he says we don't concern ourselves with our older games. When asked whether the developers tried to infuse older games like Ocarina of Time into Tears of the Kingdom, given how it has combined the big sandbox feel of Breath of the Wild with its dungeons, more complex story, Fujibayashi replied, because Tears of the Kingdom is a sequel to Breath of the Wild. We did not think about games like Ocarina of Time. Well, obviously. The game was laid on how we could make Breath of the Wild more extensive and more interesting. Yeah. They've said this sort of thing before. Like, they don't focus on the much older games. In some ways, that's healthy. A mentality to have, as you don't want to be brought down and depressed by earlier successes so that they loom large and you think, I can never achieve that again. But on the other hand, you need those examples to seek after so that you go, no, okay, am I on the right track? People really liked Ocarina of Time. We don't want to make a copy-paste game, but we can aspire after certain ideas that were good, and maybe we can make something better. Doesn't look like that's what they're doing here. When asked more directly about the future of Zelda and whether the developers feel stuck with the series, Fujibayashi noted that the possibilities with Zelda are endless. You can go in any direction with the series. Numa responded, I get bored quite quickly. If I am playing a soccer game, I want to do something else after 5 minutes. But with Zelda, I keep playing because things like soccer have been incorporated into the game. Zelda Soccer. Okay. The games surpass genre conventions. I don't much like it when people say that. As such, you can incorporate many different experiences. Because typically, this is just code for we're not going to stick to our genre. We're not going to stay in our lane. And we're going to be a chaotic mess. We're not even going to try to be good. But on the other hand, that being said, I think that there are ways to surpass the conventions of a genre. I do not think that they've done that in the past few years. And I don't think they much care. But that said, you have Lord of the Rings, you've got Hour of the Dragon. These have surpassed the conventions of the genre. Or you could look at Legend of Huma, even the Dragonheart movie. These surpass a lot of the conventions of the genres they are in. And I may be trapped in Zelda, but it is not a problem. It is a comfortable place to be stuck at. Okay, fair enough. There's plenty of commentary in the interview worth chewing on beyond the question of integrating older games into new Zelda installments, such as the connection between the Calamity Ganon of Breath of the Wild and the Ganon found in Tears of the Kingdom, and whether Aonuma has regrets about the Zelda timeline. I don't think he much cares about it. At the very least, we know that Aonuma doesn't plan on leaving Zelda behind anytime soon. If you're interested in checking out the original interview for yourself, you can find it here. Zelda Dungeon extends a massive thank you to... Okay. Let's check this guy out. I'm just going to click here. Okay, it's all in Dutch. Or is it? I don't know. Okay. Never mind. My mistake. But if you want a classic Zelda experience, well, you're out of luck. You're going to have to go back to the older games. That's basically what Aonuma is saying. Now, the article itself is not badly written. Cora Burton is not a terrible writer, and she's just being honest. This is the way it is. But at least she's translated some parts to English, or... No, wait, she relied on Wes64 for that, which is fine. Her favorite is Breath of the Wild. Okay, so she's not a classic Zelda fan. Or if she is, she prefers Breath of the Wild because she probably thought it was fresh and new, which is fine. In some ways, it was very different, so in every way. So, yeah, most people prefer it now. And it's the new model for Zelda games. Ocarina may as well no longer exist. And I know that might seem harsh, but that's kind of where Aonuma's coming from. Oh, I like this. Basically a politician answer that says nothing. Lol. I don't know. It seems like a pretty direct way of saying no indirectly, if that makes sense. I'm just looking through the comments a little. Remaking two remakes since Breath of the Wild. Huh. Okay. That's fair. Oh, this doesn't seem unreasonable. 2D Zelda games in the old style and 3D games in the new style. But tell me what you all think in the comments section down below. And don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button as though you were Link taking down Ganon for the final time.